Hey friends, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Noelle, and on this page we talk all things books and bookish related. So if that's your jam, make sure that you like and subscribe, and I welcome you into the fold. All right, so today, as you can tell by the title, I have a little bit of a book haul for you. I know at one point I said that book hauls weren't really my thing, but I'll tell you why this one is a thing. So the month of January, it was a tough reading month for me. I did a random book picker video, if you saw that. So I randomly chose my TBR. And for some reason, I just was not excited about it. And a couple of the first books that I chose or that I picked up from that TBR just did not do it for me. And so I DNF'd or soft DNF'd one, I think. Then I read a bad book club pick. It it was just a tough month. And so I was like, well, at least I have a new release that's coming out toward the end of the month that I was really looking forward to. I pre-ordered it back in like September, and y'all, it did not get delivered on time at all. And I wasn't aware that it wasn't coming until the day of. And then, two, it got delayed every day for probably 3 days. And then on the fourth day, they were just, the message said, we're not sure when it's coming. Do you still want it? And at that point, I'm just super, super frustrated. So I went to a local indie bookstore and I picked up a copy of the book that we're not going to name because you know what I'm talking about. Uh, I went and picked up, I don't know why I'm not naming it, but I went and picked up Onyx Storm and locally and canceled the order that I had via Amazon. And so I didn't even get to that in January because I'd gotten delayed. So I just started that one yesterday, actually. But that's not why we're here. We're not here to talk about that. However, I have been seeing everyone doing reading vlogs and videos of themselves reading that, and I have been dodging them like the plague. Even the ones that are spoiler free, and I'll tell you why. Because people share their feelings about it, right? And I just don't want to be externally influenced by anybody else's feelings or thoughts about the book. So I've been not watching a lot of BookTube even because I'm dodging the reviews. However, I say all of that and I say that if you do want me to do a reading vlog, comment down below on this book because I'm still early in. I think I may be 100 or so pages in. So let me know. All right. But I did do a book haul. And in this book haul, I wanted to visit several of the local indie bookstores that I really enjoy here in Chicago. I actually want to do a video about them separately, but in this video, I wanted to visit a few because I wanted, it's February. I wanted to get into Black romance, possibly Black fantasy. I just wanted to live in this space on page this month. And so that was the goal that I set when I went out shopping. So here's what I got. I popped into a couple of places. And the first place that I went was the Last Chapter bookstore here in Chicago. It is a romance only bookstore. And so I picked up, I think, 3 titles from there. And the first one was Stirring Up Love. And it is by Chandra Blumberg. New author to me. I have not read anything by her yet, but it says that, short, I'm not even going to read the whole blurb to it, but she's a new restaurateur. He's a talented chef. Is this a recipe for love or disaster? I mean, doesn't that sound cute? And one of the things that I don't know, I haven't really talked about this, but that you all may not know about me is that I am what I like to call a food enthusiast. I am really into the culinary scene. I'm into trying new restaurants, new recipes, things of that sort, new cocktails. I'm really into the beverage scene as well. So when I saw this on the table at last chapter, I was like, oh, how cute is this? And so I had to pick this one up. So I'll let you know how this one goes. Like I said, I picked up 3 romances from there. The second one is Technically Yours by Denise Williams. I just thought this cover was kind of cute. So that's why I picked it up. They also have a section that is BIPOC romances. So they have like a whole shelf. I'll see if I can insert a clip because I did take a little bit of video while I was in there. And so I was like in the perfect like little zone in their space. This one says 8 years ago, he fell in love with a stranger he couldn't have. Today, she's back in his life, and the sparks between them threaten to set her career on fire. Y'all, I have old eyes, and so these glasses are messing with me. I need them to see things far away, but then it becomes a problem when I'm reading stuff up close. So bear with me, and if you see me take them off, just mind your business, okay? But this is Technically Yours by Denise Williams. I'm excited to read this one for some reason. I won't say I love a second chance romance, but I do like the what goes around comes around. Like I call them next lifetimes because when you first meet them, the time may not be right, but then they may come back. Like they'll bounce back around. A little boomerang situation. Okay. And then the third book that I picked up at the last chapter was When I Think of You by Maya Ariel. I've seen this book all over the place. I feel like it's a relatively newer release. And this one says on the back cover, the unexpected spark of 2 former flames may force them to choose between their dreams and each other in this sweeping second chance romance. Yeah, I just talked about second chance romances, and here we go. So I'm excited to actually get to this one because, like I said, I've been seeing this one everywhere. And so that's what I picked up when I was at the last chapter. Then I popped over, I'm gonna save this one. I popped over to Semicolon Bookshop, which is also here in Chicago. And they've been open for several years, and unfortunately, they are closing their doors this spring. However, I did want to pop in. I had some gift cards that I needed to use, and I wanted to see what they still had in stock. They're still fully stocked, by the way. So if you're local to Chicago, you might want to pop in before they close just to say hi. And it's just such a vibe in there. I think, did I take clips while I was in there? I think I did. And if I did, I'll pop them in. But it's just such a vibe. You know, there's something about walking into a Black-owned bookstore, and it's like you feel like you're home, like you're welcome into a familiar place, like with familiar folks. Like you walk in and you feel like you're welcomed and you're welcomed home. Like, I don't know what it is. Anyway, so I picked up The Master of Souls there by Renee or Rena Barron. I'm not sure how to say her name. I should have looked that up first. But this one is not a romance. It is a fantasy, I believe. And I am not, that's a really kind of long description. I've been really going into books more blindly lately. In some cases, it's been great. In other cases, it's not been so great. But I think with the fantasies, I've kind of been liking that one. But this just says, a king with a score to settle, a demon sowing rebellion, and a girl who holds the power of the gods. Oh, wait, is this the series? Ew. Y'all, this might be a second or third book in a series. I need to look this up. Oh, yeah. Kingdom of Souls and Reaper of Souls, but I don't know if it's a series. Let me look this up. I will circle back and put text on the screen if this is part of a series. But I'm actually looking forward to reading this one. If you don't know, like, I've really been enjoying the Black fantasies and sci-fi books that I've been reading in the last year that I've started to get into, because I was not a fantasy girl at all. And I just started to read more fantasy in the past year. And it's been cool. And then I was like, well, wait, this general fantasy is great, but what about Black fantasy? And so I've dipped my toes into that. And I mean, Legendborn, that series was one of my favorite reads of the year in 2024. So I'm looking forward to this one, but I will check in on the series situation with that. All right. And also from Semicolon, I picked up Living Wild by Hilton Carter. Another thing that I don't know if I've discussed with you guys is that I am a plant girly, okay? I love me some plants. I have a house full of plants. I have a fake plant room. I mean, they're real plants, but the room is right now overrun with plants, and I need to do something about that this spring. But hopefully, once I do start to do something with that, I will take you guys in there and we'll do some recording in there. One of the other reasons I really don't record in there is because it's several windows. There are several windows in that room, and the train is very loud when it goes by, and it's amplified because there's so many windows in that room. But anywho, this is a coffee table book by Hilton Carter, and it's basically just talking about how to style plants in your home and all of that good stuff. And so I just figured it was a vibe that fits my vibe. So I picked that up as well. All right, so I just got those two books when I was at Semicolon. I went in looking for fantasies, and they had, not fantasies, I went in looking for romance, sorry. And they had lots of romance the day that I went in, but not a lot by Black authors. And the ones that they did have, I had read already. So I'm the problem here because I had read most of what they had in stock already. All right. Where do I want to go next? Okay, so then it wasn't on the same day. It was on a different day. I popped by the book joint, which is on the south side of Chicago in South Shore. I believe that is South Shore neighborhood. It is part of a collective called, let me get it right, I think it's Pen and Paper Collective. And there are several businesses that co-op in the same space. And so while I was in there one day, I picked up Lucky Girl by Irene Muchemi Indiritu, I believe is how you say her name. And I just picked this up on a whim. I hadn't heard anything about this or anyone talking about this. Actually, this is the case, I think, for every book that I have picked up except for When I Think of You. I think that's the only one that I've actually heard anything about. But this one says, longing for independence, a sheltered young Kenyan woman flees the expectations of her mother for a life in New York that challenges all her beliefs about race, love, and family. A fierce and tender debut about the lives and loves we choose, what it meant to be an African immigrant in America at the turn of the millennium, and how a young woman finds a place for herself in the world. I picked this one up. I went in there, y'all, these women, they were so phenomenal. And I went in there kind of on a cold and blustery day. And the cover of this book is gorgeous. It's stunning. And for some reason, it just brightened my day. It fit the energy of the room, the colors. I don't know. It just moved me because I wasn't even looking for anything like this at all that particular day, but this is what drew my eye. So I picked that up. But like I said, it's also a collective of a couple of vendors in there. And so this is a soap that I picked up from, I'm going to have to put the name of her brand on the screen because I can't remember it right now. But when I tell you, you can smell the soap from through the packaging. It smells so good. And I got like a little bag for the soap to go in, exfoliating bag. And I also picked up some book stickers there, or I should say stickers, for my Kindle because I need to redecorate my Kindle cases. Actually, both of them. They are stale and I'm kind of tired of looking at them. So I need to do that. I'm almost done. um, and then I have been, I don't want to say hoarding, but I've been hoarding Book of the Month credits here lately. On purpose, but also accidentally. I have this thing where I don't love having a ton of books on my TBR. I kind of get overwhelmed by the volume of unread books on my TBR. And it's kind of like, I just say, oh, well, I'll just go and buy something new because I don't want to fish through the things that I already have. I know it's insane, but that's also why I don't really do a bunch of book hauls because I want to make sure that I'm reading what I'm buying. I don't just want to have the books just to have them. I want to make sure that I'm reading them and enjoying them. And if I pass them on to someone else, that's fine. But I just want to make sure that I'm purchasing intently. Is that the right word? Intentionally. Yeah, there you go. Intentionally. So I hadn't been using my Book of the Month credits because I felt like my TBR cart was a little bit overrun, or my TBR was overrun, and I didn't have space mentally to hold any new books until now. And so I felt like I needed that bit of a refresh. So I want to say I have maybe 5 credits from Book of the Month, but I'll just share the 2 picks that are applicable to this very Black video. The first one is Good Dirt by Charmaine Wilkerson, new release, and I read Black Cake is the other book that she's authored that is very popular. And this one, I don't even really know what it's about. Let's see, sometimes the only way to look forward is to look back. When 10-year-old Abby Freeman heard the gunshot, time stopped. When she saw her brother Baz on the floor, surrounded by shattered pieces of a treasured heirloom, her life felt shattered as well. The crime was never solved. Okay, so that's the gist of this. It is going through this family's thoughts, their feelings behind this event, I believe, because I don't want to get too deep into into the cover of synopsis, but I did enjoy Black Cake, so I'm looking forward to this. So there's that one. And then I also picked up from Book of the Month, Daniel Black's Isaac's Song. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Daniel Black, I have not read a ton of things that he's written, but I did read, the first thing that I read by him was Perfect Peace. If you have not read that book, it is mind-boggling, but it is a really great read. And I also read Don't Cry for Me as well. Daniel Black is a very thought-provoking author who writes very intense and moving stories. And I am definitely looking forward to reading Isaac's Song. It says that this is an emotionally exuberant novel about a young queer Black man finding his voice in 1980s Chicago. So here's something that's interesting. If you've been here, you know that I love books that are set in Chicago, and I've been reading quite a few of them lately, which is fun because for years I had not been. They just weren't popping up, let me put it that way. And so I think this one is set in Chicago, as well as Stirring Up Love is set in Chicago. And there may be one other in this stack that's set in Chicago. So I'm excited about that. I love reading about places that I'm familiar with in the city. So those are my picks for February, or not even my picks, just some books that I wanted to add to my collection this month. Black love, black fantasy, black fiction. Like I wanted to be about that this month. So today, like I talked about several of the local indie booksellers that are here in Chicago. Several of them are Black owned. All of them are woman owned. And so let me know in the comments below if you would be interested in me highlighting each of these individual booksellers and bookstores. I want to make sure that we are highlighting the locally owned indie bookstores in our areas, that we are supporting them. We are supporting Black businesses. We are supporting small businesses. And so let me know in the comments if you'd be interested. And then you'll have bookstores to visit whenever you come to Chicago. Like you already have a ready-made list for you that I've curated. But let me know if that's something that you'd be interested in. I mean, I'm probably going to do it anyway, real talk. But if you're interested in it, let me know. I'll do it sooner rather than later. And thanks for watching today. Bye.